It's a Tuesday night in the W, and we have a lot to discuss. Welcome to WNBA Hoop Streams, presented by Google. My name is Maria Marino. Happy to be alongside my teammate, Ari Chambers. All right, we are getting you set for the Dallas Wings visiting the Indiana Fever. But again, just so much to catch up all around the league. So we are going to start by giving our peak and pit.
Okay.
Coming off of this past weekend in the WNBA, it's been a little crazy, Ari. So tell me, who has reached their peak right now in the W?
I mean, I don't even want to say that this person has reached her peak because she has no peak. A'ja Wilson, step up to the plate. Your sustained success is my peak of the week. Listen, she just received Player of the Week honors today. Listen, Western Conference Player of the Week. She now ranks third all-time for weekly conference awards, and that's behind Candace Parker with 27 and Tina Charles with 32. Last week, averaging 29.3 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 1.3 steals per game, shooting 53.3% and leading Aces to 3-0, which is something that the Aces have been struggling to remain consistent, and the consistent piece that they've had is A'ja Wilson. Listen, like when you look at A'ja, it's just such greatness all around that it's easy to forget or easy to realize that that's the standard for her. So her bar is so abnormally high that when she's playing A'ja Wilson basketball, we can't even recognize to the degree of just how great it is. She's my peak all day, every day.
I mean, you cannot go wrong with A'ja Wilson as the peak because there's really never a pit for A'ja Wilson.
Does she have pits?
But I like that pun. But I mean,
Listen,
she's just
look. Las Vegas Aces are having a down year. A'ja Wilson is not. That's sustained success.
Totally
that's what
accurate.
Goats do. Speaking of goats, look at her. How did she get up there? Because I mean, well, first of all, I will be tricked because like, is this AI? Maria, help me out.
I don't know anymore. I can't tell what's real, what's not.
A'ja, get down from the wires. We need you on the court. I mean the Las Vegas Aces, okay?
And look, don't get me wrong. Aces have been playing way better of late. They won 6 of their last 7. But what I love about A'ja, first of all, she's just always making history. And she just produces, consistently produces. Doesn't matter what's going on with the team. She just gets it done.
Absolutely. She sure does.
Hey.
What's your peak?
You want to know?
I want to know.
All right. So my peak is kind of obvious, but I feel like it deserves a call out.
Okay.
The Minnesota Lynx, they have been at the peak all year long. And what I find so impressive is they have not dipped at all, even without the front runner for MVP in Napheesa Collier being out. So they are actually 5-1 without Fee, and I just really think that speaks to their chemistry overall, as well as the coaching of Cheryl Reeve. And I just think they are really crisp right now. And I mean, they're also on a mission. They've been revenge tour all season long, Ari.
One thing about the word crisp, I think of refined, and there is no one more refined and in better position than Cheryl Reeve. She knows how to put the pieces together that might not be the flashiest of pieces. She knows what her team needs and the additions that they can go along the way. She does great international scouting. She does great with establishing a culture that is coming from a dynasty that we know the Minnesota Lynx to be. The addition of DiJonai Carrington, you add such a strong defender to the #1 defensive team in the league, and you wonder how that can make them even better. Well, it has, right? DiJonai has been able to take the load off of Kayla McBride to handle all that defense, so Kayla can just play Kayla basketball. And DiJonai is in her bag offensively this year, and she can showcase that. And adding somebody who wants to play for that system, who wants to be great, was even better for them.
I mean, it's been a pretty seamless fit so far, but I want to go back to Cheryl Reeve for a second, because what I also think is just so funny is she is clearly bringing this chip on her shoulder mentality to the rest of the team. They feel like they got slighted last year in the finals, and like that attitude has been permeating. I mean, she said Emma Mieseman made the wrong choice going to New York.
That's so funny.
And not to mention, picks up Jalen Sherrod as well, coming
Maria,
from New York.
It's funny because Cheryl, if you ask her, she's going to be like, no, we're not even thinking about finals from last year. But how can you not?
Oh, I think it's pretty obvious.
Away? But they literally are like, no, this isn't a rivalry yet between us and New York. No, we don't care about
I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second.
Are we not buying it, Cheryl Reeve?
Oh my gosh. I think every single Liberty game, they already beat them twice this season, but they have every game against the Liberty circled, in my opinion. And that's what you sometimes need to get motivated. I mentioned picking up Jalen Sherrod. Cheryl was like, yeah, I don't really know what she brings except for maybe some corporate knowledge, you know what I'm saying? So
hilarious.
I just find that amazing. But that brings me then to my pit.
Okay.
The aforementioned Liberty. And I know that might sound a little bit harsh because technically they are still number 2 in the standings, although same record as the Atlanta Dream. Interesting. But the Liberty, they just can't stay healthy. I mean, they've been missing a quarter of their roster now for quite a while. I mean, let's just take a look at the injury report for tonight, playing the Sparks later on. And mind you, first game of a back-to-back, so not a kind part of the schedule for the Liberty. But Brianna Stewart remains out. Niara Sabally remains out. Newly added Isabel Harrison, now in concussion protocol. One bright spot, Ari, they do get Kennedy Burke back. And I think that is not to go unnoticed because, I mean, she has been phenomenal for the Liberty this season. She's brought size. The three-point shooting has been elite. And so just not having that body, I think, has hurt the Liberty.
The bodies are going to matter, especially when it comes down the stretch. If you want to get another championship going back to back, the size is going to matter.
Right.
I'm looking at them when they do face off against Minnesota. They're going to need that big body. Thank goodness for the Liberty that Jonquel Jones has returned. Thank goodness that there are glimpses of the post returning. But it seems like for New York, every single time a post comes in, a post goes out.
Well, and that's the other point. And, you know, adding Meesman, obviously phenomenal, but it's clear that so far they're not totally on the same page yet. And so my concern for the Liberty sort of long term is getting everybody back, getting everybody gelling together. That's something that I believe the Lynx are going to have an advantage with.
They are. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at playoffs. The healthiest team is going to be the one that goes the farthest. But my pit is just the injuries.
I know.
In Atlanta, I have been so big on Atlanta from day one for something. Something just felt so different about this team, and they've been able to compensate for the loss of Ryan Howard. But now, as they got Jordan Canada back a couple games ago, she is now back out. She had to be carried off the floor against Phoenix, which was just the saddest thing ever, on a non-contact knee injury that we have not received an update yet. And some personal news, it's the day before her birthday. Nobody wants to do that. And so I just feel bad for our Leo sister here, but just being able to have a backup point guard.
I'm a Leo too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm a Pisces. I can't really.
E-Day was yesterday.
They're only happy belated.
I know I had to throw that in.
As you should. We should give you all a happy birthday.
Anyway, though, didn't want to take away from
you
sucks
take your
about
moment,
Jordan.
Maria. It matters. No, but what also matters is a backup point guard for Atlanta Dream, that it doesn't have to fall on people playing out of position or assuming too much responsibility. I want to see a place where Ryan Howard can play free, especially because she's faced injury this year. I want to see where she could just get up on the wing and just shoot, right? Like her and Alicia having a strong point guard to be able to carry them, that's experienced in the league, and that is what Jordan Canada brings. But also we have, unfortunately, the Indiana Fever. They are plagued with injuries. One of our favorite people on earth, and not just speaking of me, everybody's favorite person, going down, left ACL, out for the season. And I especially hate this because of the culture that she brings into the locker room, the veteran leadership that Indiana has needed this season. She's kind of the consistent glue that makes sure that they stay in the right mental state. She's talked about how she's been able to impact that locker room all year long. And so just not having her there is an extreme miss. And then you have Ari McDonald. Oh, my goodness. If you're going to have Caitlin Clark sidelined because of her injury, Ari McDonald is a great person to step in and be ready. And now she's out with a broken right foot. So just the acquisition of Odyssey Sims, who's also a high IQ point guard that really runs the floor, is a great sign, right? I was wondering, like, where do we have point guards here to add and make sure that they're going to be okay? But Odyssey, I'm wondering about ball distribution. She's somebody who likes the ball in her hands, and so it's kind of a little bit more reflective of Caitlin Clark, honestly, than an Ari McDonald. But just figuring out how to assimilate that into their system right now, because they have been able to gel despite adversity. So where they stand going into playoffs is something I'm going to be looking at. But it's definitely a major for injuries.
I mean, major. You just cannot say enough, unfortunately, about the injuries for Indiana, how it has affected them this season, and it truly feels like that backcourt cannot catch a break. But let's talk a little bit more about injuries this season overall, because Ari, doesn't it just feel like there are more than usual? And I don't think that's hyperbole if you actually look at the amount of injuries that we've had, also the just amount of games missed overall in the league, and not just any players, but a lot of star players too. Already mentioned Napheesa Collier, Brianna Stewart, obviously Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. I mean, I could go on and on. There you see 11.7% games missed by All-Stars this year. That's the most since 2015. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. So what do you attribute all of these excessive injuries to?
When you go into circumstances where there's expansion and a prioritization so that players are maintaining their countryside tenure, there are going to be more games, right? It went up from 30-something to 40 last year to 44 this year, and it's not expanding the calendar for the game schedules. Now, they do have charter flights, so it's a different situation where they don't have to go through an airport, so that's good. But look at the stats right here. It's just it's so condensed as it stands, and it's only going to get more condensed if they don't stretch out the schedule. So I'm looking at the players going to vouch for a longer run time and longer game rest in between. A lot of All-Stars told me, like, man, we need a break. My body's tired.
Right.
My body is just simply tired, and it's a higher level of competition now, whether or not, the old heads, the OGs want to tell you that, but the game is very physical, it's very skilled, it's very demanding. You're playing in front of larger crowds, you're playing more games.
Right.
All that is wear and tear on the body. Now, they have better access to facilities and trainers than they have in the past, but it still doesn't undermine the fact that it's just so condensed, and I know that the players are going to want to have a longer chance for rest.
Right. So just expanding on the CBA conversation for a second. So you're expecting hopefully just the schedule to be more spread out because again, with these extra teams, we're looking at more games. You need rest to be able to obviously heal and recover. What else CBA wise might you look for? Could it be, more roster spots? Could it be, you talked about the training staff. Could it be also like, you have to have a certain amount of PT or rehab staff employed by your organization, something like that.
These are all things to consider. When it comes to roster spots, I was one historically against a bigger roster, but now I understand the importance of it, especially if you're going to have a condensed schedule like this, especially if you're going to play 44 games, which include back-to-backs. My initial criticism was, coaches already don't play their bench. But when you have repeated injuries, especially in the growth of the injuries like we saw on that graphic, there are more instances where you need to pull players who know your system. And so that's going to be interesting to see how they negotiate that. I know going to the CBA, their main priority is money. How are we going to get paid? But when you have a prioritization clause that is a part of this particular CBA that doesn't allow you to have your overseas obligations like it has in the past, you're going to want to fight for something that can keep you stateside, keep you paid, and keep you healthy.
Indeed. A lot to figure out with that CBA negotiation, of course. Do want to mention, look, it's not all negative. We are getting some players back. I know you're excited, Ryan Howard got back, but how about Cam Brink, though? Sparks are, suiting up again tonight against the Liberty. What have you seen from Cameron Brink?
When she returned, they were 10th in rebounding. And I'm like, are you gonna get them higher in rebounding? She's so long, and she can defensively add to this team, just getting in the way. Her blocks, she came through, she's the blocks leader in the league right now, and just being able to disrupt. Cameron's whole thing is disruption. She's not afraid of you. She's not afraid to get in position and assert her dominance. She's not afraid to use her length to the Sparks' advantage. And when you add her to an already strong Sparks team that is learning to gel right now, it's the perfect position going into playoffs.
So Sparks are 9-2 in their last 11 games, so watch out, Libs. But let's move on, okay, because now it is time to take a look at what fans are searching for, brought to you by Google, and searches for WNBA MVP candidates. Breakout search in the U.S. over the past week. So want to take a closer look at the MVP race and consult the odds courtesy of ESPN Bet. So, as you can see, Collier, pretty heavy favorite there, minus 475, and then Alyssa Thomas plus 375, followed by A'ja Wilson plus 1800, and then a little further down the list, you got Sabrina Ionescu at plus 7500. Okay, so here is my question to you, Ari. So, obviously, Napheesa has been out, but the Lynx still look pretty darn good. Does that somewhat hurt her MVP case, just that they're still playing so well even without her? And does that maybe open the door for another one of these candidates to gain some ground?
Unfortunately, the injury did open up the door for them to gain ground because she's not playing, right? Not only do media voters sometimes have recency bias, but she just doesn't have as much time to prove herself in that way from the first half of the season, especially when you have an Alyssa Thomas, who is the engine of the Phoenix Mercury, who has gotten 3 triple-doubles in a row. That's nuts. She's in a league of her own in that distribution, filling the stat sheet, and she's so integral to this team. But if you take it back to the conventional definition of MVP, it's the best player on the best team, and right now that's Napheesa. But if you take Alyssa out of the Phoenix Mercury, you do not have the same Phoenix Mercury team. They have not had a chance to prove that they can be the same Phoenix Mercury team. She is so valuable to them. She sets the tempo. She fills the stat sheet. She makes everyone around her better. So right now she's really gaining traction on that MVP race.
I think that's such a great point about what you said about you take Alyssa Thomas away and where would the Phoenix Mercury be? Now, we already talked about A'ja Wilson. Tell me if you agree. I feel like she has just entered that convo that you would have had LeBron James in, that you would have had Michael Jordan in. You kind of are going to have her.
Goat, Maria.
You're going to have her in the MVP race just about every year.
It's funny because her bar is so high. That is the standard. So in order to get a nod over a Napheesa Collier and Alyssa Thomas, it's so unfair because she's going to have to be even better.
Right.
And that's a crazy concept to assume because A'ja Wilson is the best player on the planet. I am so comfortable saying that. But because she has the standard that is so high, it's hard to exceed people's expectations.
Well, and I also think what people kind of forget about last year, you know, the Aces struggled a bit last year, but she was so good that it just didn't matter, even though they were further down in the standings. Now this year dipped. As I said, they are playing better of late, so you can't leave her out of the conversation. But who else that we didn't see on that list would you maybe throw in there?
Alicia Gray, step up to the plate. You have put Atlanta Dream in that 3rd spot, and honestly, tying the record for the 2nd place team. So watch out for the Atlanta Dream, carried by Alicia Gray. They did not miss a beat. She has been able to really utilize the offense that her coach runs. She's just very comfortable in their style of play. She's just been so amazing to me. But what I fear is that the MVP award does not lend itself to guards. In the 28 seasons that we've had MVP within the league, only 3 have been point guards, and only 8 total times have guards won it.
Yes.
4 total guards, period.
It's been a long time. You have to go back a while before you get to a guard winning MVP in this league. I mean, I would add that somebody like a Brianna Stewart, even though technically a big, has guard skills, so that's something interesting.
I'll read to you. Diana Taurasi, Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, and if you want to counter, Elena Deladon are the only true guards that have won the award.
Yeah, and even EDD is a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, they have her listed as scoring guard, but like, that's my thing. It's like, it's not historically been awarded to guards. Right. Alicia Gray is doing the work. She is one of the main reasons Atlanta Dream is positioned the way they are going into the playoffs.
Well, I'm so glad you gave her your shine. I'm just going to throw in there, we did see Sabrina on the list. I think that for her to take that next step and really be a serious contender, you said it, consistency. But there are times she absolutely looks the part of an MVP. I mean, she's had a handful of games hovering right around 30 points this season. If she does that, and also, I would say not even just the scoring. I mean, she really fills up the box score, kind of like how we see Alyssa Thomas do. So I think that she's somebody hovering that maybe in a couple of years, maybe next year, you know what I mean, could actually make a legitimate MVP
the problem
case.
There's so much around her.
I know. I knew what you were going to say.
I knew you were going to take Sabrina out. New York just has the pieces that they can compensate. They just are so talented.
Right.
It's very hard to distinguish yourself as MVP of the league when your team has so much interchangeable MVPs on it.
And I do think that's the big reason why she's not a bigger part of the narrative. But I think when you really pinpoint and look at some games that, say, Stewie missed or JJ missed and how she played, that could help her down the road. But as it stands, still a ways to go. So let's move on, shall we?
Okay, let's do it. I think we have some rankings, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, we're only about a month to go in the regular season. And so let's take a look at the standings just to kind of reset where we are at this point. And look, it's really getting tight. There are going to be a lot of games mattering. Only 2.5 games separate the number 5 Fever and the number 9 Sparks. But at this point in the season, it just got us thinking what each team is going to need to focus on here in the final month. But we're not going to just tell you. We are going to show you using emojis.
I like the shoulder action. Come on.
I know. I don't know why. You know what? It must be the music that's going on.
Yeah, I think so. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. So it's time to party with some emojis. Ari, you're up first. We're gonna start lowest team in the standings with the Sun.
I have a school bus. You all, this is a new team, new system. Everything's fresh and new. They're going to school, they're taking notes, they're learning from each other. Nobody expected them to be the top of the standings this year. That they had to blow themselves up in order to start fresh. This is a school team. They're going to be taking notes this year.
All right, well, next up in the standings, we have the Wings. Mine is stock is rising. I know it seems a little grim right now, but see that? They have new practice facility coming likely next year. They're moving to a bigger arena. Unfortunately, that got delayed, but in the next couple of years, and not to mention Paige Beckers and all of the rest of the young, talented core.
We know when there's Paige Beckers, it's big money Paige. The price gone up. But Chicago Sky, they're a little under the weather right now. They're trying to figure it out with all their injuries, especially to their star player, Angel Reese. And so it's just a kind of an unfortunate year for them, but I know that they're going to bounce back.
Word. All right, mine for the Mystics is this one right here, because it's kind of meh. Because on one hand, I'm so excited for the rookie all-stars, Sonia Citron, Kiki Iriafen, but I do think that their trade of Brittany Sykes kind of signals like, okay, we're accepting that we're not winning this year, we're going into rebuild mode. It's not necessarily win now, so that's why it's just meh right now.
They have 6 first-rounders in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
they're going to be
they'll
fine.
be
And they get Georgia Amore back. But the Sparks, the pieces of the puzzle are connecting. They have Cameron Brink back, and she might be their last missing piece. So they really go on a run, make a case for them to be a playoff team, a long-standing playoff team. And they just have the pieces worked out now.
Oh, they are definitely putting it together. All right, we are now moving on to the Valkyries, and here we go. It's dollar signs, baby.
Hey.
Everything coming up green for the Valks. Most valuable W franchise in their first season of existence per Sportico. Selling out games at Valhalla. Coolest name for a fan base ever. Just the compete level exceeding expectations. Valks they're bringing in the money.
Okay. Somebody who needs to solidify the bag. Lock in, Seattle Storm. You have a great case for being one of the, going far in the playoffs. You just gotta lock in. You have all-stars. You have more, you got what you need. Just lock in, baby. Be consistent. That's what we need.
Indeed. All right. So next up for the Fever, we got, this is not like the good, oh, you're hot fever, right? This is like, no, you're sick, you're ailing type of fever. We've already spoken about it. Just the crazy amount of injuries, and they could really use Caitlin Clark back. I just don't know if or when that's going to happen, and so they just got to get healthy, really.
Health has been a big problem for this league. Okay, bricks for the Aces, not bricks because y'all are missing shots. That's not what this means. It means the bricks because they have one of the most foundational pieces of basketball on your team, A'ja Wilson. The foundation is there. Now it's time to add brick by brick, night after night. How are you going to build up the house that you have already established a house of success, a dynasty brewing? Continue to build, Aces. Y'all got this.
Right. And also sneaky good move, not so sneaky, but for Becky Hammond, putting Jewel Lloyd on the bench. It's the way the rotations have worked out. Very nice. Very nice.
Wow.
Okay. But next up, Mercury, okay? And this was actually inspired by one Ari Chambers who used to have a segment called Don't Sleep. You see what I'm doing here? Don't sleep on Phoenix. Why? I just think they really have all the ingredients to be a championship contender. I mean, I think you could say the same thing about Atlanta too.
Oh, and I will.
Well, why don't you? What do you got?
Listen, you say don't sleep on the Phoenix Mercury, and true, but I say don't sleep on the Atlanta Dream. This is my dark horse. I don't even think it's like a hot take dark. Like, I had them going to the finals a couple weeks ago. I just have blind faith in this team, and it might not be blind faith because on paper they look good. In the standings, they look good. They know how to handle adversity. They are bought into their system. They get along on and off the court. I love this Atlanta Dream team, and they are one of, I think this is the third time they've exceeded 20 wins in a season. They're just on track to do great things, and hot take, I don't think Minnesota wants to see them in a series in the postseason.
I don't think anyone does. And by the way, we haven't even mentioned, you said going into the season you felt good. How about what Carl Smesko is doing in his first year coaching? I mean,
frees up the offense for them. He makes them feel so comfortable within it.
And it was hard to kind of imagine at first, BG, Bree Jones, but it's working.
It works.
Okay. Almost done here. Next up, the Liberty. And here is what I'm using. A punching bag, okay? Not a punching bag, boxing glove.
Boxing glove.
Yeah, that's more accurate. But the point is, they need to fight. I talked to you about all of the injuries that the Liberty have been facing, and they just got to keep their head above water right now. Already talked about just the bodies. They need bodies. And so, by the way, this is going to be a really tough point in the schedule. They're playing the Lynx a bunch more. We are not going to get an accurate view, though, of what this team can do until they get some of those players back.
But you know who we have an accurate view of? The Minnesota Lynx. They're the real deal. And they have a real deal coach. Cheryl Reeve didn't build the dynasty that she built off of coincidence. She knows how to coach this system. She knows how to build winners, and she has a chip that she doesn't want to admit to, and their players have a chip. You have players that have been the bridesmaids so many times between Courtney Williams, Napheesa Heidemann, DiJonai Carrington. Then you have Napheesa Collier, who, MVP season, is she going to come back or not? There are so many chips. Alana Smith, has been on this team. Jessica Shepard returning, she's slept on players. There are so many pieces of this team. They're just gelled together, and they have just turned over a great product. There's a 6.5 game lead between 1 and 2. And from 2 to 10, that is the lead.
They've been balling. They've been balling.
Next level. Different level.
All right, we got a special guest. Surprise,
surprise.
surprise.
Oh, surprise.
Well, look who it is.
Hey, Erica girl.
It's Erica
Hey,
Wheeler.
girlie, how are you? How you guys
doing? Welcome.
How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. It's nice out in Seattle today.
Look, it took your triple chains off, so I ain't even got to talk about your jewelry today. You got some slight on it for us, but that's not what this is about, Erica. I promise.
I'm chilling. I'm in the house.
You chilling. I love that. You've had a glow up in Seattle where your score has gone off the charts, and this is the fourth largest increase in WNBA history by an average. What do you attribute that to?
I mean, the game is growing, as you can see. It's growing. It's very exciting. Every night, every game that's being played is super entertaining. So I think that plays a big part of it. Just being able to have the fans in Seattle, they've been great. Noe just being able to put me in position to be able to just be successful. And of course I got to do my part, but credit to the coaching staff just being able to put me in position. So I'm grateful. I'm happy. And a happy Erica is a great one.
Erica, I don't want to interrupt these happy vibes, but I do have to hit you with a bit of a tough question here because it's been a bit of a struggle here. How do you help this team, and what does the team as a whole need to do just to sort of break this 5-game losing streak and sustain success throughout the rest of the season?
Well, if you look at all 5 games, we are losing these games by 1 or 2 points in overtime. In those 5 games, we probably left, 15, 16 points of all 5 of the games just being lost by. So we're not losing these games by a lot of points. It's just being able to execute down the stretch, not having a dead quarter where we get so low to where we have to come back. We just need to put all 4 quarters together. We've been putting 3. So, and not getting down 20 and having to fight back. I think that fight that we had from down 20 need to start from the start of the game. And I just think we just need to get over the hump. Like literally, Noe said it. She was like, we're in the middle of a storm, like literally. And we just gotta, get past it because the storm is always temporarily. So I think once we get over this hump, I think we're just gonna start rolling in the right direction. But we gotta get over the hump. We got to get over it.
Look, the storm is temporary unless you're playing for the storm. Am I right? I'm just kidding. But you mentioned a happy Erica, and you mentioned how good this team is, like possession by possession, just like the intensity that you bring. What is the culture of Seattle?
We like each other. I don't know what's been said on the outskirt. Like, I don't really care about the outside noise, and that's
Period.
why I made a decision to come here because I talked to Noe, Pokey, NECA, Sky before I made my decision to come to Seattle. It's really great here. Like the organization is probably top tier. Indiana is one of the top tier ones too as well. But Seattle has a different it's a championship, culture here. So like you can feel that the facilities, the owners, the coaching staff, the players, like we just have a great culture, in my opinion. I don't everybody else's experience is different, but from my experience coming here, being able to be embraced by a culture fan base is has been outstanding. And a lot of people ask me like, well, why was you crying during the interview? Like, why are you so happy? And I was just like, being able to be embraced by 10,000 people that I come from a situation where I didn't play at all. Now I'm playing and I'm being embraced by all these fans. Like that's the appreciation that you can't get unless you're in it. So that made me super emotional, and I'm just happy to be playing basketball again.
Erica, please, if you know anything about you, you know you're gonna cry. One thing
Listen, hello.
you gonna cry. That's emotion.
Well, it's so great.
Listen,
Go on.
I'm gonna let you know when I'm happy. Like I am not afraid. I'm not one of those ones to hide how I really feel. You gonna know if I'm happy. You gonna know.
Absolutely.
Well, we love to see it. It's great to hear you rave about the culture in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And you also just brought in a pretty significant piece with Brittany Sykes. So what does that bring to the court with you all and also the locker room?
Man, Sykes has been phenomenal. Like since the first day she got here, I played with Sykes in LA. She just came off a 27-point game the other night, almost willed us to over the hump. But Sykes is a great addition. She has something that we just don't have. She can get down, score in transition. She draw fouls, shoot the three, like this shot she just made right here. And then also just being able to create too, because she's an all-star. Like she made that clear this year. So people have to guard her. So and then just being able to have that veteran leadership that she brings, and she a dog, man. She one of those ones that you ain't gotta hype up. She's already in there.
Maria and I just did an emoji affiliation game. We assigned emojis to each team. What emoji would you use for the Seattle Storm right now?
The lightning straight.
Oh,
You know that.
Duh.
You know that. You know that. Like, you know that.
She said, "Sharpshooter, we
I
about to
love
be
it.
on brand with the mascot and everything, honey. Come on, Bolts."
Listen, everything. I just love here in Seattle, man. We just got to get over this hump. Ari, I know you be watching us and checking us out. But when I'm telling you, when we get over this hump, you're going to be like, you know what? You did say that. Like, we're going to start rolling.
Absolutely, Erica. I can't wait to continue to watch and cheer you on. You know I love you dearly. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Thank you
Erica.
guys for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks again to Erica Wheeler for joining us. That was so fun and so on brand. Okay, before we go, we got to preview the games tonight.
Okay.
As mentioned, Wings visiting the Fever any minute now. And Fever, they've been in a bit of a rough spot here with the injuries that we've been talking about. You mentioned bringing in Odyssey Sims. How do you see this playing out tonight?
I see the Wings having something to prove, especially now that we saw the moment with Maisha talking about how, hey, the fans, we understand that you support us, but we want to make sure that we keep it cute.
Yep.
And so now I see them wanting to stand up for each other. So just being cohesive in that way. They have a Diamond Miller who's been able to show out. And they're not as fragile and injured as the Indiana Fever right now.
Well, I do think that this is a precarious spot for the Fever, just because the Wings at times have played a lot better than their record has shown.
Absolutely.
And so with Odyssey, as you can see, getting acclimated and with the backcourt. And, all season long, Steph White has just had to truly be creative and patch things together. And so they are vulnerable. So every game, it feels like Indiana really just has to be careful because, the Wings, they have some talent too.
But Odyssey might come in and really shock the world because she knows what to do when she has that ball in her hands and she produces.
Let's talk a little bit more about Maisha Hines-Allen, though, because you mentioned sort of that moment went a bit viral of her. I don't think I have ever actually seen like a professional athlete in a setting like that straight up face to face, like address the crowd and be like, hey, we need your support. We don't want to hear the boos. Like, we're working on it. If there is an instance that I'm missing, please comment, tag me. But I mean, what can you say about her message?
That's good character. That's good leadership. That's taking up for your team when they need it. I understand where the fans were coming from when they say, hey, this is a group of people we anticipated that would match our expectation, but you never know what's going on in the locker room and how that support can turn very toxic very quickly. If you have a situation, and I've heard it personally from Barclays when Dallas Wings came and they were booing their head coach, and I just think that it's completely inappropriate to project that negativity and frame it as love. And so for Maisha to call that out, she put a stop to that hatred so they can really come together and say, no, I have your back. And that's where culture is built. Culture is built when you have each other's back. And so in that showing, Maisha said, hey, I'm this vet that's going to show you that you cannot penetrate the love that we have for each other. There might be adversity this season, but at the end of the day, we have to shield that and we have to handle business. And so that's what I think happened.
And I think a key part of the message is just patience. It's gonna take time. Don't forget to tune in to Wings Fever right now on ESPN, and that's gonna do it for us. Once again, she's Ari Chambers. I'm Maria Marino. Thank you so much for watching WNBA Hoop Streams presented by Google.